Hi, everyone. This is Brian Butler. This is a very quick demo of what happens when you ask Chat GPT to write an essay about a piece of literature and ask it to incorporate textual evidence, i.e., direct quotes from the literature. Unfortunately, over the last several months, there has been a increase of students who are using Chat GPT, as I say it, wholesale. They're essentially asking the bot to write essays and arguments about pieces of literature, asking it to include quotes, and doing absolutely no fact checking of what is being produced and just turning it in the way it is, or using the quotes that have been produced in their assignments without even having read the work. The problem with that is almost every single time when we're looking at Chat GPT writing about literature, it does not provide accurate quotations from the pieces of literature. And in many instances, there are other flaws. Sometimes the plot is incorrect. There's also a very formulaic way in which ChatGPT produces text that it makes it very obvious to the reader that this was not written by a human. So I wanted to take you through an example. Uh, excuse me. I asked ChatGPT to write an essay about a play that I teach in Survey of World Literature called Schoolgirls, or the African Mean Girls play. I asked it to write an essay about the play that explores colorism in the play and to include direct quotes from the play throughout. So we get a title that isn't the best title to begin with, to be honest with you. Um, And we get this first line. Jocelyn Bio's Schoolgirls, or the African Mean Girls play, is a brilliant satire that delves into the complexities of adolescent beauty and social hierarchies within a group of teenage girls at an elite boarding school in Ghana. I want you to note how formulaic this is. It's the three-part thesis and explanation. That is one of the biggest red flags that I get when I'm taking a look at a essay that's been turned in, whether or not I thought someone used Chat GPT to write it. Okay. Um, we see it again down here. The play presents an exploration of self-esteem, competition, and societal expectations, offering a compelling narrative on how darker-skinned individuals, especially women, navigate systematic prejudices related to skin color. Here we go. Three parts again. Exploration of self-esteem, competition, societal expectations. It's that formulaic way that a lot of people were taught to write essays, the three-pronged thesis, which is really not a good way to write an essay, by the way. And it's so formulaic, it makes all kinds of bells go off when I see this in a paper. Okay. Um, we go into the actual body of the essay here. And we get the first direct quote. You don't know what it's like to be truly beautiful. You're only pretty because you're lighter than me. That quote does not exist in the play. Nowhere in the play does this quote exist. So, major red flag to begin with, fraudulent quotes. In this course, if you incorporate fraudulent quotes into any assignment, it is an instantaneous zero. So even just including this one quote you pulled from ChatGPT, it's a zero. It's fake. Absolutely fake. Okay. Um, This next paragraph has some issues with the plot. Erica, however, challenges these beauty norms. Though she is light-skinned, her mixed race background and American upbringing mark her as an outsider in the world of Ghanaian beauty culture. She does not conform to the typical ideals that Pauline and her friends uphold. As a result, Erica faces her own form of exclusion, but enjoys privileges that her peers, especially Paulina, envy. This is totally not true in the play whatsoever. Actually, the girls in the play flock to this character, Erica, because she's lighter skinned and because of her ability to understand American beauty trends and pop culture. So this is just inaccurate. Okay. Another quote here. You come in here all light skinned and wearing that ridiculous American accent, and suddenly everyone loves you, just like that. Surprise, surprise. This quote doesn't exist anywhere in the play. Okay. Um, it goes on to talk about how Bio illustrates how colorism operates not only within African countries, but also between African Americans and Africans from the continent. This, again, really isn't a theme, and it really does not really does not have a key factor in the play whatsoever. Okay. Next part here, I'm going to pull out this one line here. For instance, the character of Mercy, who is darker skinned than Paulina, is constantly mocked and belittled by her peers. This is completely not true. This is not in the play whatsoever, this plot point. Okay. Paulina, who assumes a leadership role, often uses her status to uphold these colorist standards, reinforcing the idea that darker skinned individuals are inferior. Um, this is again not true. Paulina is actually the darkest skinned person in the play, and she tries so desperately to look more white. She actually uses bleaching cream in the play. So this is just completely wrong. Okay. Um, Another quote, you think you can just walk in here and tell me what to do. You don't even have the skin tone to back up your attitude. False quote. Nowhere in the play is this said. Okay. Um, we move on. Um, we get um, again, questionable analysis here. One of the other things I want you to notice is that ChatGPT will make a point. The play examines how the legacy of colonialism continues to shape perceptions of beauty and self-worth, even in post-colonial African countries like Ghana. Note how there is absolutely no support or concrete examples from the play to support it. It's all very generalized language with no plot points, nothing to really back this up. Okay. Again, another quote that does not exist. You don't understand, do you? The Miss Ghana World Competition isn't about talent or brains. It's about looks. And looks mean light skin, straight hair, and a good smile. This is not in the play. Okay. This absolutely does not exist. All right. I also want you to note the conclusion. All right. If you take a look and compare the conclusion to the introduction, it does the absolute worst thing you can ever possibly do. You essentially just rephrases and restates the opening paragraph. That is another giant red flag so far as, what is going on here? So the biggest thing I want you to walk away from after watching this and listening to it is several key points. You cannot just use Chat GPT wholesale. You really have to read the literature, and you have to know it well enough that even if you use Chat GPT for a little bit of the assignment, you have to know when it is essentially producing inaccurate information. If you just take it and don't read the literature that's assigned and turn this in, this paper would not only be a zero, it would be a massive, massive, massive academic integrity violation. I have unfortunately had to submit several cases to student services over the last month, even of this type of academic dishonesty. Another thing I want you to keep in mind, they're all fabricated quotes. These quotes do not exist in the literature. They are nowhere in the play. The last thing I want you to keep in mind, well, second to last thing, the fraudulent plot points, things that really are not existent in the play. And finally, the idea of this formulaic writing, this three-prong approach throughout, big generalized statements that do not have any concrete specific examples from the play to defend it It's all very general and it may read nice, but I see no evidence to support it throughout. So I think my plea to you is please, please, please do not use Chat GPT to produce direct evidence and quotes from pieces of literature. And you must know the literature. You have to read the literature in order for you to have a firm grasp of what is fact and what is fiction when you use something like an AI device.